Hey, what's good everybody? This is your boy Ced Banner, and this is my review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. So this of course is the second installment in the new trilogy that's being tacked on to the franchise or the series, however you want to say it. 2 years ago we got The Force Awakens, which came out to fairly mixed reviews, mostly positive. I gave it a positive review. I did enjoy it. It was directed by J.J. Abrams, who is one of my favorite directors. And I thought he did a good job of making it his own, but still also keeping a very traditional feeling in the film, and I was very pleased with the writing as well. It was not flawless, but it's Star Wars. I always said Star Wars fans are probably some of the hardest fans in film to please. I don't think they can be pleased. You know, and it's just, I've never been a huge Star Wars fan. I've enjoyed certain characters growing up, and probably 2 films out of the franchise are big favorites of mine. But the fandom has never run that deeply for me to really, you know, get into these discussions with the fans. But what I will say, and this is for anyone reading the reviews and listening to reviews now who have not seen The Last Jedi, a lot of these complaints that come from fans and film viewers are complaints that just cannot be satisfied, regardless of how the film is shot or presented. And that's because, again, this is a film that's set in space. We have aliens from countless galaxies, jumping between galaxies in a matter of hours and minutes, speaking to each other in English. But these complaints are wanting the film to base everything in this earthly logic. And I'll never understand that. You know, to me, if it's fantasy, allow it to be fantasy. Chill out. You know, that's just me. I don't want to get into it with Star Wars fans. This was directed by Rian Johnson, who I had actually never heard of. I looked at his filmography. The only thing he's done before this film that I even know or have seen is Looper, which had, you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis. It was a so-so movie. Nothing impressive in my opinion. But he does The Last Jedi, and I think there was a huge risk on Disney's part, allowing him to take over such an important film. And I'll go ahead and say I think it really paid off. I had a great time watching this film. I really did. For a lot of reasons. The acting is about as good as you can expect from a Star Wars film. I mean, there's nothing Oscar worthy here. I will say that Carrie Fisher, the late Carrie Fisher, I felt like she kind of carried the film, at least for the parts that she's in it. Her spirit kind of carries the film as well. She does a great job. Princess Leia gets a very good final appearance on screen. Of course, Mark Hamill is back as Luke Skywalker. That's not a spoiler. If you saw The Force Awakens, you knew this was coming. I won't say a lot about his character, you know, or what happens with him in this film, but what I will say is he does a great job giving us kind of this worn and weathered Luke Skywalker, this aged Skywalker that's just ready for everything to end. I think he does a great job. I really enjoyed him on screen. The villain, Kylo Ren, I believe is how you say it, played by Adam Driver. He's funny to me, man, because he's really not a good villain. I think pretty much anyone will agree to that. But to me, he's necessary because of the type of character and villain he is. He's really just like this young emo hipster who's angry at everybody and everything for really no reason. He just has this darkness, this force in him. But there's really no real reason for him to be as angry as he is. He's really just kind of a crybaby. And I think it's kind of fitting these days, honestly. So I think his character is very necessary, and I think it actually makes the film and the franchise more fun for me. So kudos to him and to the writers. I really enjoy Kylo Ren. Daisy Ridley as Rey, great job. That's all I'll say about her, because I'm not doing spoilers, of course, but great job. I really enjoyed her on screen. John Boyega, Finn. You know, here's the thing. You know, I appreciate Disney and Star Wars giving us a black protagonist in this new trilogy. I do appreciate that. I don't want to sound like I don't. But to me, the character Finn is just so pointless. In The Force Awakens, I tried to really get on board with the character and I couldn't do it. In this installment, his whole plot is really just kind of a filler, you know. And once again, no spoilers, so I won't go into detail. But he's with a character named Rose, and they have this whole thing going on that, you know, it was kind of fun to watch in a couple of instances, but overall, just, you know, his character just feels so unnecessary to me. But, you know, whatever drives the story, I guess. It didn't kill the movie for me, but I just had to say that. I will say the package as a whole here on film, the cinematography, the special effects, there's a lot of course, old school and, you know, throwback traditional shots, but they're updated in a way that really just makes them, I mean, for lack of a better term, cool, very cool. Once again, not any spoilers, but the Supreme Ruler, who Kylo Ren is under, he's played by Andy Serkis, the famed, you know, character actor who gave us Gollum, gave us Caesar from Planet of the Apes. He does an awesome job, great on screen, but there is a scene involving him, Rey, and Kylo Ren that to me is one of the most badass Star Wars scenes of all time. And it includes these troopers that are like red space ninjas. That's the best way I can describe them. Just badass, man. That's the best way I can describe it. I really enjoyed that scene. I really loved the entire look of it. Everything about it was just awesome to me. So kudos to Rian Johnson for accomplishing that. His visuals in this film were just stunning from beginning to end, in my opinion. I will say, lastly, the writing, you know, I think it's very good. I think it's great. I think it's solid, actually. You know, there's always a lot of patchwork when it comes to the Star Wars films, but this felt very complete and solid to me. It didn't really feel like patchwork. You know, the Force being used the way it was used, the communication going on between Rey and Kylo Ren, I thought was extremely cool and different. Everything worked together, and this film is a little over 2.5 hours long. Easily could have felt too long, but I thought the pacing was great. I was really into it from the first frame to the final frame, and I didn't leave the theater feeling like I missed anything or I was cheated in any way. This is an awesome second installment. I really don't know how they're going to be able to top it or do any better with the third, but just a great film, fun, and probably my new favorite Star Wars installment. I'm gonna watch it 1 or 2 more times before I confirm it. So my rating for Star Wars The Last Jedi is, it's Star Wars at its best. I really think it is. I really felt that way throughout the film, especially at the end. I felt like this was Star Wars, that it was a film that captured a lot of the feeling from the originals, and it added in a lot of emotion, you know, with new characters and stories as well, and meshed together very well for just a pretty epic film viewing experience. It was a great time in the theater, man. I think everyone in the viewing I was in loved it. So definitely worth the time, the money to go see it. It's a fun time at the theater. And that concludes this review. Just real quick, I wanted to say we're coming to the end of 2017. I probably still have 2 or 3 more reviews left that I'm going to knock out by the end of this month. But just wanted to say, keep an eye open next year. 2018 is looking real good. Working on a couple of big things, doing some talking to some people, and things are looking good. So just stick with me, you know, my few and faithful viewers. Things are looking up. So I appreciate you watching. Until my next review.